Good morning, everybody. I got started late, so I'm rushing, and I got heaters on, so it's gonna be loud. I finally got an easy curl station to stop that incident from happening where I dropped the 45-pound plate on my toe. For the last like 3 or 4 days, my toe has been so black and blue. I thought the nail for sure was gonna fall off, but there was so much pressure that built up in my toe that the blood was trying to find places to go, and it surfaced in big giant boils on both sides of my toe trying to get blood pressure out of there. And I had to pop the boils to get the blood pressure out, and then it all healed, and within just a couple days the black and blue is already starting to go away, and the toe is starting to shrink. I'm lucky I didn't break my toe, and it just damaged the tissue. I can turn this torpedo heater off so it's not as noisy. Yeah, I mean, I could have been in a bad spot. So now I wear my steel toe boots out here every day, and I'm actually, instead of trying to cheap out and stop with what I have workout equipment wise, I'm just gonna buy the right stuff so I don't make this mistake again. Yeah, that was a very, very bad mistake on my part. Trying to use a freaking chair as my preacher curl bench. This was like $100 on Amazon, and it's perfect for what I need. I don't need anything super professional. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it's a nice setup. It's not expensive at all. It took like 10 minutes to put it together, probably not even that. Struggling a little bit more today. Lack of energy, for sure. So, good morning, Happy New Year to you as well. Yesterday morning it was I I spent all morning on a 6.2 in an Escalade trying to diagnose. It came from another shop, and they were having a hard time diagnosing it. It's got a misfire. It's got a code set in the computer of P050D, which is cold start misfire, and P0300, which is multiple cylinder misfire. And when I first started it up, it was misfiring on 3, 5, and 7, and then 2 and 4, or 4 and 6. So I called the mechanic up that worked on it before, and I got some information from him. And he was like, look, I'm just being honest with you. I don't have a ton of experience with these GM engines. I know they're problematic, but I figured that the number 4 injector was leaking, so I pulled the intake manifold and replaced the injector. And I said, did you look up the service bulletin on that? It states you should replace all the injectors if you're going to go in there and do like one, or at least that whole entire bank. And he said, no, I didn't know that. And I said, there's a code set in the computer now, P050D, for cold start misfire. And he said that was never present when I was working on the vehicle. So I says, okay, I get it. After the vehicle runs for a while, 3, 5, and 7, they don't misfire anymore. And only 2 and 4 do, or 4 and 6 do. So at this point, I'm like, I want to stick a bore scope inside this engine and see what's going on. The cylinder crosshatch on the cylinder walls looks great. It doesn't look like the injectors washed anything down. I noticed that while I'm running the engine, if I monitor the fuel injector PIDs, all of the injectors say ready as they're working, but injector 4 and injector 6 constantly drop out and say not ready, not ready, not ready, not ready. And then I can increase the throttle a little bit and it'll say ready, not ready. Ready, 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 not ready, not ready, not ready. So at this point, I told him that the 2 things that I'd really like to do is I'd like to pull the intake manifold, and I would like to replace all the injectors and actually follow the GM service bulletin and go through and replace all of the injectors. And also do a carbon cleaning while I'm there, because cylinder 4 and cylinder 6, when I stuck a bore scope up inside, you could see all the carbon buildup, which I'm going to be releasing a video here soon. You could see all of the carbon buildup on the valve seat where it actually goes up inside and seats up against the head. Just tons of carbon buildup in there, which is probably causing some of the misfire. But then I also wanted to check for bad compression and or like a bad valve or something like that, or a leaky valve. So what I did was I ran the cylinder 4 up to top dead center until both valves were closed. I stuck my leak down tester inside there. I shot 100 psi through it, and then I monitored my secondary gauge to see what I was losing. And I was having a problem with the seal on the O-ring with the tool that I screw into the cylinder or into the spark plug bore. And I was losing just a little. I could hear it hissing around the O-ring just a little bit, but it was so negligible. It was I was only losing like 3 psi, 4 psi, which is, it's not going to cause that type of misfire. So I'm pretty confident the compression's fine, because the leak down tester is actually going to tell you more than what a compression tester will. And I didn't get anything out of the oil cap. I got nothing out of the throttle body, nothing out of the exhaust at all. So I don't think it's a compression problem at all. I really sincerely think it's because of all the carbon buildup in that direct injected 6.2, because in 14 they went to direct injection. I think it was 14 when the body style changed, and the amount of carbon buildup at 140,000 miles on a vehicle with direct injection is just atrocious. There's so much carbon buildup. So I told him what I want to do is I want to start with injectors and a carbon cleaning while I'm there, and then we'll move forward. So I quoted out I think I quoted out 10 hours labor, and the reason I did that is because the injectors alone are like 5 hours, and then I had like 3 hours in a diag, and then I'm gonna have another 2 hours in carbon or walnut cleaning and stuff like that, or walnut blasting. So I said, I think pretty safely for a job like this, it's at least 10 hours. 10 hours for the injectors, 2-3 hours for diag, another 2 hours for the walnut cleaning. That's pretty fair to me. Low oil pressure on a 15 Transit 350 XL. Oil light starts to flicker at idle and low RPM. Engine's wore out, or you've got a faulty oil pressure sensor, or The fuel pump or the oil pump is starting to go. Or change out your oil filter. Make sure that's not an issue. Make sure it didn't pick up a bunch of debris and it's starting to plug up. Not doing that. I'm gonna have to stay away from anything tricep for a while. I've been loading it up way too hard with triceps, and my freaking tendons where they attach to the elbow area is so sore. Freaking sore, man. Good morning. Good morning, Leroy. No, I'm not dosing with the creatine. I probably should, because I feel like I'm not. Lately, I've been really bad about getting enough protein in, which is going to be a huge downfall if I make that a trend. I bet you yesterday I probably only had 120, 140 grams of protein, and that is not enough for my, as big as I am. If I don't catch up on the protein and keep up with the protein especially, I'm not going to get enough creatine for recovery. And I'm also not going to retain some of the muscle mass that I have, which they say when you're on these weight loss drugs, you got to be working out and you have to be hitting enough protein, because if you don't, as you're losing fat, you're going to lose muscle mass as well, and you don't want that. So I've been slacking in the protein area just because I don't have much of an appetite after I eat, like half a pound of protein or something like that, or a pound of protein. I really don't want anymore. My body's like not craving more, which is an issue because I'm not eating enough protein. Happy New Year to you as well. Tell you what, the energy level is really, really, really down today. It's like I need to reset with some carbs, even though I don't want to. I probably should have a day where I just reset with some really clean, complex carbs, because I'm feeling so depleted. What I normally get in for breakfast is I fast. I drink a giant glass of water, a cup of coffee, and it's not true fasting because I do put a little heavy cream in the coffee to kind of calm my appetite. And then I don't eat anything until probably close to 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I try to have that as my first protein meal. And then by like 2, 3 o'clock, I have a big giant cabbage salad. I don't eat like the leafy stuff too much, unless it's like kale or spinach chopped up with my cabbage salad. And I make sure I have a giant cabbage salad, not just a little one, a giant one. And I typically use some kind of oil-based dressing that doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. And then about 5, 6 o'clock will be my last meal, and I need that to be heavy protein as well. I try to have no other veggies after my giant salad in the afternoon. Sometimes I don't even want to get the salad in, and I only get the protein in, which is fine as well. But I notice if I don't eat the fibrous stuff every couple days, my bathroom movement is down and it feels off. But I can typically make it start going again. If I start to get constipated or backed up from too much dairy or meat, I can take some colon cleanser pills before I go to bed It's called like the 15-day cleanse pills, and I don't use it for 15 days. When I get a little backed up and I know I should be going to the bathroom, I take 2 of them before I go to bed, and in the morning it shit my brains out for like 2 days. It's typically probably not a bathroom movement until about 8, 9 o'clock when I'm already at work, which is all right with me. I want to talk about a video that I'm going to be making here soon, and I want your guys' opinion on. I'm going to have to go, like, in the next probably 2 or 3 minutes. Zinc PM, small dose, good morning. I ran across a post online, and it was a post about mechanics. A shop owner was asking a question, and the shop owner said, how do you handle techs being late? Like being on time? How do you handle that when they're late? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half hour, 1 hour? And how do you handle them working on their car in the shop? What is your guys' policy and procedure? Because the owner of the shop said, I'm having some problems with technicians kind of following company policy. I went to the comment section of that video, and let me tell you, it was one of the most atrocious things I've ever seen in my life. The technicians that were commenting that are A-plus level techs that are like really high-end, they have no comebacks, they're just extremely smart, they can pretty much diagnose anything. They were so cocky, so condescending. They were saying shit like, I'll show up when I want, I'm the lead tech in the shop anyway, I'm the one that bails us out of all the problems, I'm the one that puts my neck on the line all the time to help others diagnose vehicles that they're misdiagnosing. I'm the one that gets bothered constantly when I'm on lunch break. I'm the one that's always being asked to stay later because there's an issue that people can't find out. So if I want to show up a half hour late, 2 hours late, if I want to take off as much time as I want and I give you enough notice, or if I just want to take a day or 2 off because family's sick or I need a break, I'm going to take the day off. Regardless if I have the vacation time or the sick days or not, I'm going to take the day off, and nobody's going to stop me from doing that. And I will do basically what I want. Within respect, I'm going to do what I want. And I thought to myself, wow, man, that is not the world that I grew up in. It's completely different today. And I don't even know how to think about it. And then further down in the comment section, I started seeing some of the shop owners. They were saying stuff like, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. It doesn't matter. It's my policy. It's my rules. If you're not 15 minutes early and at your box when it's time for work to start, then you're late and you're wrong. And, you know, just the mentality and the attitude from the shop owners as well, it was just both ways, man. It was just extremely atrocious in general. I mean, it's I don't even know how to explain what I was like almost lost for words reading the comment section of this post on how cocky the shop owners were and how cocky the A-level plus technicians were that were just like, both of them had the attitude, no, you're going to do what I want you to do. And that's just how it is. And it's so bad, man. That attitude in general is so bad. Now, I'm not going to lie. I think I would be considered an A-level tech, A-plus level tech, because I can pretty much do anything and I will find out the problem. I'll die on it to find out the problem. The guy was saying, he was like, I have less than 1% comebacks. I help everybody in the shop diagnose things that they can't diagnose. I have the highest upsell out of anybody in the shop. If I'm not there to do my work and my upsell needs to be given out to somebody else, I accept that responsibility. I accept the fact that I lost that gravy job or that maintenance job or whatever it is. But that's also an acceptance with my mindset, knowing that if I want to be late, I'm going to be late. If I want a day off, I'm going to take a day off, and I'm going to do it when I want and how I want. That's with that mindset that I know I'm going to lose the job. I know I'm not going to be able to do that upsell. It's fine to give it to somebody else, but with that, me knowing that and accepting the fact that I'm going to lose that upsell, I'm going to still do what I want though. Give it to somebody else in the shop because I've already diagnosed it. I'll go through and diagnose everything and fix what I can, but if I don't feel like fixing it, give it to somebody else to fix because I've diagnosed it. I've given them the tools to do it. Now, fix the car, make the money, move on to the next job. Diagnosing it is the main part of the battle. And then other shop owners are saying, no, you're going to be 15 minutes early because you're going to your box, or you're going to the locker room 15 minutes early to leave. So why should I be penalized for you not showing up 15 minutes early? There were all kinds of things, man. Guys talking about time off. If you don't give me at least a couple months in advance to schedule the time off, like if you're going to be gone for a week or 2 weeks, then you're wrong. Not going to happen. You're not going to do that at my shop. Well, other owners were saying, no, I need like 6 months in advance before you tell me when you're going to take off. And if the time that you need to take off is conflicting with other technicians' time that they're taking off, you're not taking the time off. Well, a lot of these A-level techs are saying, no, I'll tell you when I'm going to take the time off, and you're going to let me take the time off, because 6 months early is ridiculous. I don't know. Going through this comment section, it just made me feel horrible that we have people with this type of attitude on both sides out there. I was always taught you do show up earlier on time. You make sure you're working. You want to have a coffee every once in a while, fine. You want to go bullshit for 5-10 minutes here or there, fine. You need a break from the monotony of working on the same type of vehicles over and over again and just want to step out for a cigarette or something, fine. But don't make it a habit to be 20-30 minutes all the time. And at least give me some respect when you take vacations or you need time off or whatever it is. Don't be a jerk about it and do it the day of, oh, I'm taking the next few weeks. At least give me a couple weeks in advance. If you're sick, you're sick. Nobody can fault you for emergencies. If it's a family problem, it's a family problem. But just the back and forth between the owners and the techs, and the nasty things that the techs had to say about the owners and the owners saying about the technicians, I was like, man, this is exactly why this industry is so screwed up. People have their heads or their nose so far up in the clouds that think their shit doesn't stink, and owners think that, no, you're going to do what I tell you to do when you're going to come in here the way I want you to, and that's just it. Well, that's why you guys can't find techs. And that's why technicians never become shop owners, because if you were really that good and you could do anything and everything and make all this money and you're the golden star child of the entire area, technician-wise, then you would go own your own shop and operate and run your own shop and diagnose everything and then pass it off to your employees to do all the work. I just don't get the mentality of how these technicians and these shop owners, especially in the independent world, is just absolutely atrocious. All right. I need to go to work. I'm going to get out of here, and if you guys want to talk this morning at work, we can. But just wanted to check in and say hi, do a little bit of workout this morning, not very much. Just I'm strapped for time lately, so I'm going to get out of here. Oh, here's another vehicle, that Kia Soul. The check engine light hasn't come back on in like 3 days or whatever, however long I've had it. I think 4 days. 3 days. So the check engine light hasn't come back on, and I think I found the problem where the shop that actually worked on it, did not. They found the problem, they fixed the problem, but then when they went to go put all the hose connections and stuff back on the purge valve, they did not do a clean job, and it caused a problem with how it's sealed and connected. And that was why it kept flagging a evap large leak, because it was pulling air around those connections that they never put clamps and stuff back on. So no check engine light. Let me see here. Wow, that got blue. No check engine light in 4 days. Now that's a TPMS sensor right there. Can't really see it too well, but it's a TPMS sensor in that corner. And I think the problem's fixed. I'm just waiting for the evap monitor to clear, and it hasn't cleared yet. So the customer told me just go ahead and keep it because you've done better than anybody's done with it so far. And I said I think that was your problem. It was just they found it, they did fix it, they just didn't put all the connections in back entirely, and they actually created a second problem. So I'm working on 2 vehicles right now that came from other independent shops, and I'm not dogging independent shops or other mechanics that they were having a rough time figuring out how to actually fix the problem overall without something coming back. It's life though, man. You have that with dealership techs, independent techs, whatever it is. This just so happens to be the last 2 vehicles were independent shops. And they were local shops that people have trusted for, 10, 15, 20 years. And they, whatever it may be, whatever the reason is. All right, I'm out. Take care, guys. Be blessed. I'll have some longer videos out soon. We'll talk about this more when I get to work and I get on my first job. I'd like to finish this conversation about what you guys expect as technicians and owners of businesses, or if you was an owner of a business, how would you deal with this situation? And let's have this conversation, because this conversation needs to be had. It's so toxic in the mechanic field right now. A lot of technicians, mechanics don't even want to be mechanics, and owners don't even want to be owners anymore because it's just not worth it. Let's talk. I'll catch you later. Be blessed, guys. Love y'all. Bye.